Hey guys, Legendary Grimlock here, and today we're going to be doing Can Godzilla Ultima beat Legendary Pokemon? So, what are the rules for this one, right? I think it's pretty self-explanatory. We're using Godzilla Ultima, or Godzilla from Godzilla Singular Point, right? Now, I'm not going to be able to show actual footage here, because again, I don't want copyright, like major copyright or anything. So, what I'm going to show are GIFs, screenshots, everything, alright? And next off, we need to talk about the legendary Pokemon, or the Pokemon, or how the Pokemon are going to operate during this here. So the Pokemon we're going to be using, and they're going to have their feats from both the manga and anime, and their lore as well. So they basically get all that. All right. So yeah, but we're not going to go too high, and we're not going to use anything from other series like Rainbow Rocket and stuff like that. So we're not having the overpowered Mewtwo. And Godzilla's going to be going at them from region to region in order. So Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, Unova, Kalos, Alola, Galar, all that stuff here. And all the legendary Pokemon are going to jump Godzilla from those respective regions. I'm not saying every legendary Pokemon altogether is going to jump Godzilla. So from region to region, the legendaries in those specific regions are going to jump Godzilla. And remember, we are not going to be using Rainbow Rocket scaling for any of the other Pokemon, especially Mewtwo, because that's just way too overpowered here. Now, as for gimmicks, they'll have their gimmicks. So if they can Mega Evolve, use a Z move, or something like that, they will have it. Now, it's very possible. I would love to see more legendary Pokemon Mega Evolving in the future, but it is what it is here. Now, where do we scale Pokemon here? Now, some of the lower tier legendaries, like the legendary dogs, legendary birds, and stuff like that here, would all scale to the Regis, who are able to contain the power of Groudon and Kyogre before they got their primal stages here. Which you can easily put that at a planetary, obviously, as they're able to, pretty much they're going to destroy the planet when they fight here, right? So being able to contain that power is no joke at all here. And there's also the much higher tier scaling, where you have the sheer fact that each Pokemon region is an alternate reality, and the fact that the Pokemon world itself also contains multiple universes in it, like the Cave of Mirrors, which actually contains multiple infinite universes and alternate realities. Basically, it contains multiple universes here, and they're casually able to destroy that, which you can easily say is multiversal as a pretty much a low end, possibly even getting that to conflict multiverse if you want to. And then you have the legendaries that are not only capable of destroying things like the concept of spirit itself, which puts them at outerversal, because that is a very major concept here. But you also have legendaries that are capable of destroying ultra space, which also would be a part of the Rainbow Rocket series. So basically, as a lower end for some of the base legendaries, you can easily get them from planet to universal pretty easily, where you also have the high tier legendaries, like, you know, your creation trio, primals, and megas, which are around the, you know, multiversal to outerversal. All right. So then you have Godzilla Ultima. Now remember, I can't show the actual footage, so what you guys are going to see here are screenshots and stuff like that, and maybe a little bit of GIFs. All right. Let's begin here. So Godzilla Ultima, and apparently this is from the novelization, which I managed to get at least a little bit of here. And with the novelization here, you have Godzilla Ultima not only being from a fourth dimensional space here, but you also have him being capable of destroying multiple universes. As a matter of fact, in the novel, it's actually stated he did destroy multiple universes. Now, again, you could easily put him at multiversal for your base here. And again, I'm still trying to find that archetype stuff here where people put him at hyperversal and stuff like that here. But I guess to make it fair, we'll put this at a tier equalization for the rest of the video. Meaning no Pokemon or even Godzilla Ultima here in his avatar state here are able to go beyond multiversal, which I think would be fair. Now back to the hacks and abilities of Godzilla Ultima. He has his overpower regeneration, obviously like any other Godzilla, right? He has his atomic breath here, but his atomic breath apparently is made out of like time waves, which I find very interesting here. Now, let's talk about the archetype. Now, the archetype is pretty much this higher dimensional cloud here, which allows Godzilla Ultima to trap light and energy and allows him to absorb it. So he can absorb energy and get stronger, but via this archetype here. The archetype is also capable of causing like diseases to like people and humans that, well, human beings and possibly even creatures that pretty much breathe this in. So yeah, it's actually pretty interesting here. Now, Godzilla Ultima was beaten by a jet jaguar that was able to transcend space-time and then detonated something. It was some type of counter to the archetype here, where it was basically able to counter the archetype and cause Godzilla Ultima to explode from the inside out. Yeah, I know it's pretty confusing, and understandably why here, but he died in like one of the most ridiculous ways possible. But then again, obviously the humans had to win somehow in some way, right? So can't really say I blame them for at least thinking of something that worked, but at the end of the day here, it is what it is here. They use Jet Jaguar as a whole time and space bomb to just kill Godzilla Ultima. So yeah, that out of the way here, the rules are set. Godzilla Ultima, the tier cap for everyone here is multiversal, all right? He's going to get jumped by all these legendary Pokemon from their respective regions, and he's going to be moving through them region by region until we have a region where I think he would actually stop at, all right? So without further ado, let's begin here, and let's start off with Kanto, and obviously we have the legendary birds Mew and Mewtwo. Now, Mewtwo is clearly the stronger one here and has the bigger arguments for the multiversal scaling, as Mewtwo in the manga and even in the anime has been able to one-shot the legendary birds, gone toe-to-toe with Deoxys to the point where he used his spoon, this telepathic spoon, but it is what it is here, to actually give him a stroke, which is actually like ridiculous altogether. That's actually pretty messed up now that I think about it. And then you have the sheer fact that he's also able to mega evolve and go toe-to-toe with characters like 50% Zygarde, who's capable of going toe-to-toe with the likes of Necromaza. So yeah, it gets pretty interesting here. Now, with the legendary birds here, I would definitely have to say they're around the planetary margin as well. So they're not going to contribute too much to the fight as a whole here. Now, yes, they have their burn, freezing, and static paralysis abilities as well as their fire absorb here. But the best they could do is honestly just maneuver around Godzilla, maybe target some of his more vital areas like his gills, maybe his eyes and stuff like that. But they don't have anything to say that, oh, well, they're going to, you know, be so overpowered and so over the top here that they're also going to contribute, right? And then you also have Mew, who is weaker than Mewtwo, because again, Mew apparently can't Mega Evolve or increase his power really in any way here. But again, Mew is still one of the more dangerous Pokemon on Earth, using his, you know, obviously his telepathy, telekinesis, and stuff like that here to actually be able to harm Godzilla Ultima, as I would definitely think Mew should be respectively in those universal margins, as he should be on par with Uxie, or at least somewhat comparable to the Lake Trio, I should say. Excuse me. So with that being said here, in all honesty, it just comes down to Godzilla versus Mewtwo, Mega Mewtwo. Godzilla Ultima versus Mega Mewtwo, and I think that's pretty fair, you know, with the tier cap and everything here. Because, again, I don't feel like really going that high here. Plus, again, it's pretty fair in all honesty. So, with that being said here, I could see Godzilla Ultima actually clearing with these stipulations here. I really could see it here. You see, with Godzilla Ultima in general here, he should be able to use his atomic breath to overpower a lot of what Mewtwo does, and he has a lot more raw power than what Mewtwo is normally capable of, you know, fighting against here. Now, again, I'm not saying Mewtwo isn't powerful. He can definitely use his telekinesis and telepathy to literally throw Godzilla off his game, maybe even bounce the attack back here. But again, I do feel like his options are very limited when it comes to taking down Godzilla Ultima. Yes, I know he has transmutation, molecular manipulation, stuff like that. But remember, this Godzilla is still of a much higher dimension and is still extremely powerful. Now again, Mewtwo is again still pretty powerful himself with Mega Evolution. And in all honesty, if I had to really argue a way for Mewtwo to actually win here, it's for him to try to use his powers and abilities in a very smart, strategical, and surgical fashion in order for him to actually be able to beat Godzilla Ultima and for him to fully avoid the time curve wave, which is basically the atomic breath, but on a much higher level here. And then possibly trying everything he can to knock out Godzilla Ultima. If not, probably use telepathy to shut him down, which we don't really know if Godzilla Ultima is resistant to, but we don't even know if his brain is also on that higher dimensional plane. And it's very possible that it is here. Now again, still an avatar, still has its own body and functions here, but again, it's really in that possibility here. Now again, there is the possibility that Mewtwo can still harm Godzilla and defeat him with his attack potency, excuse me. But again, what I'm saying here is Godzilla Ultima has the durability to not only tank all of Mewtwo's attacks here, but to just flat out overpower him. And again, if Mewtwo falls, then the rest of the region falls as well. So yeah, that pretty much just wraps it up for Kanto. Godzilla Ultima should clear it with mid to high difficulty at the very best here. So I think that means we can move on to Johto next. Now, Johto's legendary Pokemon is really not too different. You know, you have Celebi, you have the legendary dogs, you have Ho-Oh and Lugia. So they're not too different here, except Suicune is water instead of ice here. Or did they change that again? Sweet Lord, you never know. But again, at the end of the day, I think it's the same way with the legendary birds. The legendary dogs just have no real way of competing against them. It's really just not fair. Or sorry, the legendary dogs have no real way to beat Godzilla Ultima or even contribute to the fight here, except providing miniature distractions here. It's very possible that they could get a paralysis off with same way with Zapdos here, but again, I don't think it would be able to affect something as big and as powerful as Godzilla Ultima, meaning that just goes into Lugia and Ho-Oh. Now, yeah, if we really think about it here, where Lugia was pressing Hoppa during the entirety of the Hoppa Unbound movie, and the same Hoppa was able to, able to control the creation trio, it's very possible here that there's really nothing to stop Lugia and Ho-Oh, who was equal to Lugia, from straight up pressing and smacking around Godzilla Ultima, because Hoppa is around those same multiversal to higher tiers, right? And keep in mind that Lugia was pressing Hoppa to the point where Hoppa had to BFR him and just hope he just never comes back. It'd be funny if the little version of Hoppa just straight up opened a portal and just summoned Lugia back there. I think that would be actually funny here. Now, I do think Godzilla Ultima can outlast them due to his healing factor and due to his stamina. Because remember, he is still a higher dimensional being here. Now, when it comes down to it, I do think Lugia and Ho-Oh could get the job done. However, I think that more often than not, Godzilla's Ultima would definitely have to be around. Definitely stamina would be able to carry him through it. Now, let's go over the other regions before I go over the ones he stops here. He definitely beats the Univore region. They don't really have the AP nor the feats to really compete with him, except for Zekrom, Reshiram, and Kyurem. And they're the only ones that really matter here. But even then, they don't have the necessary AP to really compete with him. At best, I definitely would give them the universal margin, maybe even a multiversal margin, but not to the same degree as Godzilla Ultima. Zacian and the rest of the Galar Pokemon as well, even Eternatus, I don't really see how they also contribute. Again, they're powerful, but they're not in that same league. Some of them actually just get dealt with pretty easily, the same way the other legendary birds, legendary dogs, and stuff like that straight up get beat the same way. Like it's not fair. It's not really fair in comparison here. Now, don't get me wrong. I do think they will be able to put up a fight. Again, they do have the numbers. They're all going to jump him and stuff here. And then Eternatus, Zashi, and Zamazenta still have that universal to multiversal like scaling here. But overall, I just don't see that happening. Now, the way the region, I almost said the region I think he definitely stops at is around Hoenn. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you do have Latios, who are very powerful telepathic and telekinetics in their own right, able to literally contain and block the power of the creation trio, combined with Groudon, Kyogre, and Kyurem, along with Rayquaza, Deoxys, the other Regis, and obviously Primo Groudon, Primo Kyogre, Mega Rayquaza, Mega Latios, and Latias as well. Yeah, I definitely think they would overwhelm him and possibly even contain his power output as well, because the Regis are apparently able to do that. So with that being said here, he honestly would stop here, to be kind of honest here. And in all honesty, I don't think that would actually be a bad thing here. I mean, Rayquaza is busted himself. He's been able to fight against the Creation Trio and Kyurem, Groudon, and Kyogre all at the same time, while Latios and Latias are playing keep away with Little Hopa the best that they can here. As for Sinnoh, the sheer amount of conceptual legendaries that are there, along with Regigigas, who's one of the stronger legendaries out there, it's really not fair, to say the least here. Like, he could straight up box Godzilla himself if he wanted to. Then you also have Kalos and Alola, who also scale to each other. And the biggest ones here would definitely be Ultra Necromaza and Zygarde, 100% Zygarde, who also scale to each other. And then respective regions here, yeah, along with Yveltal, who can absorb the life force energy out of Godzilla Ultima, while Zygarde and Xerneas are just starting to pummel him. With Volcanion and Hopa as well. Yeah, it's not fair. It's also possible for Hopa to open portals and just reverse Godzilla Ultima's attack. Necromaza would likely absorb him, as she's done this with pretty much her entire realm of Ultra Space as well here. So Godzilla Ultima essentially has a lot of Pokemon just going against him here. Once you get like past the, I guess you could say, with Hoenn, Sinnoh, Alola, and Kalos respectively, they all have what they need, or all have what it takes here to pretty much put down Godzilla Ultima, rather than these other regions, which really don't here. But that's going to be all to today, you guys. I definitely think he stops around those respective regions. So technically he takes it like, he got like 4. It's like 4 out of 8. So that's not too bad in my opinion. So in all honesty, yeah, he gets far, but not too far. But that's going to be all today, you guys. Please comment down below, like and subscribe and share with your friends. This is Legendary Grimlock, and I hope y'all have a blessed day. Peace.